Hey everybody, Card Bandit here, and what I'm going to be doing is a deck review. That's right, a deck review on probably the most anticipated deck of the year, the 2016 Virtuoso Spring Summer Playing Cards. Wah! Alright guys, let's get into the review. Let's get into the Tut Case to start. So the front has a geometric pattern that sort of follows the theme of the Virts deck with the same color scheme. So you've got yellow, black, white, and gray. You also have the Virts logo on the front there, that V. On the side, the pattern sort of continues to the side where you have another V for the Virts logo. On the back, once again, you have that geometric pattern, except you have no Virts. Nope, you do have a Virts logo. It's right there on the tab. And then on this side, it says Virtuoso, breaking that geometric pattern scheme. On the bottom, it once again says Virtuoso. And it has some information about the USPCC and how they were designed in Singapore by the Virts, and no one ever really reads that. So essentially that's your Tut Case. It has Virts on every single side, so if you thought that you were going to forget who made the deck, you can just look at the box anywhere, except for the top. What? No Virts logo on the top? Mind blown. No, there is no Virts logo on the top. It's just blank yellow. And then on the inside of the flap it says, designed for cardistry. The inside of the box is completely white. And that is your Tut Case, guys. But let's be honest, you're not here for the Tut Case. You're here for the ad cards that they put in the deck. Absolutely. So you actually get a couple of ad cards. One's like, says Virtuoso Spring Summer. One's talking about the deck itself, saying like it's borderless and things like that. So it gives you a little bit of information as to the background of the deck and how they designed it on that one. This one is just their basic design for cardistry, talking more about the deck. And then this is an ad card for their website. And if you know anything about Virts decks, you know that all the ad cards do come together to form a giant playing card that's indicative of what you'll get with the actual ones. So let's talk about the faces of these cards for a moment. Here is your Ace of Spades. You've got a nice geometric pattern on the ace that makes it up. You've got the Virts logo in the center, and it says Virtuoso Spring Summer 2016 on the bottom there. It also has a line design on either side, and that line design is carried out through all the cards because it gives you a nice pattern when you're doing fans face up. So that is your Ace of Spades. Pretty nice and simplistic and works with the deck. The rest of the aces are standard. Well, I won't say they're standard because they've still got the lines on the sides and the pips are smaller, but they're just regular aces. The King of Spades, actually all the court cards are custom in this deck, so you get really nice geometric patterns with these cards, or with the court cards that make them up, and I really feel like that suits the theme of this deck very well. You'll notice that with the yellow and the black, you have that great contrast where the yellow has a lot of yellow and the black have a lot of black on them, so I really enjoy that aspect of them. All of the spot cards have that diagonal pattern to them, which is really, really nice. I enjoy that because it adds that extra dimension to the cards, so I just have fun with that diagonal themed pip, the diagonal themed pips on the cards. The one thing I will mention about the faces of these cards is that you can't see the pips when you're doing fans and spreads and things of that nature, and I just felt like a different color scheme might have made those pop better. Now that we've talked about the faces for a bit, let's talk about the backs. Now the backs, I really like them because of the way they accent the geometric feature that they've been going for. So you'll see that you have all these geometric shapes on the card, but they're accented more because you have those black lines in between each of those shapes, and the lighter coloration on the cards helps to accent those features a lot better than it did in the other decks. So this card pops more than the other decks. You get that hexagonal feature in the center there, as well as that circle, which they didn't have in the other ones. It was harder to see that hexagonal pattern on the other decks. The fact that these are borderless does mean that they merge well, and you can have more space on the card, which makes them pop even more, and I enjoy that aspect for them in terms of cardistry as well. I think I would have liked personally to see a little bit more color, just because you have gray, white, black, and the only real color there is yellow, because the rest are shades. So personally, I think I would have like to see a slightly different color scheme, but I think this color scheme also works with the deck because of the way that it does make the card pop. So all in all, I really think that the back design does work for these cards, and I'm looking forward to seeing what they do with this sort of design in the future. To sort of compare the two, you definitely get a bolder feel, I feel, with the 2016 deck as opposed to the 2015 deck. Not that I don't like the 2015 deck, you can just definitely see the boldness of this deck versus this one. Let's talk about the handling of these cards for a moment. So these cards actually handle really nicely. They're printed on a high-grade casino stock, which essentially translates into a very thin but springy cardstock. I also feel like they have a chemical coating, such as a performance or magic finish on them, some sort of chemical finish which allows these cards to be spread nicely, but will also protect them and make them last longer in the grimy hands of the cardist. Now, because of that thinner casino stock, these cards can be a little bit trickier to do card cuts with. It takes a little bit of adjustment in order to do the cuts, just because the cards are more malleable, but honestly you can pretty much do any card cut that you need to, and the cut is accentuated by the design of these cards. So no matter what cut you're doing, whether it's something a little bit more complicated or whether it's just your regular Sybil cut, you can definitely be assured that these cards will accentuate that. It's just going to be trickier to do that adjustment because these cards are more flexible. This deck also ferros brilliantly. You don't need to apply a lot of pressure, and the actual deck will ferro really nicely together because it's a thinner stock. You have sharper edges that ferro together nicer. Your pressure moves, such as Ripple, are very easy with this deck as well because of that more malleable stock. Your lapel spreads or my arm spread, any of these moves that require pressure work well with this deck just because you have that more malleable stock. So if I had to give this deck a ranking, I'd probably give it a ranking of about 9 to 9.5 out of 10. I really enjoy the handling of this deck. It's great for pressure moves and everything, and it looks great. There's just a couple drawbacks. One is the color scheme. I felt like the pips were a little bit hard to see, and that was a little bit of a drawback for me. The thin casino stock, while the cards are still cuttable, I felt like it took some getting used to just because those cards are more malleable. And then the versatility, so you won't be using this for Magic. It's strictly designed for cardistry, but if you wanted something for Magic, this isn't the deck you're going to be using for it. So it does lack something there. But honestly, this is one of my favorite decks. It looks beautiful and I love it for cardistry. Alright guys, and that was my take on the 2016 Virts deck. Like I said, it's just one of my favorite decks. I've been playing around with this for a week and I have not regretted my purchase in the slightest. It is such a fun deck to play with. If you can get your hands on one, get one. They are very smooth and I just am lucky to have them. They are amazing, and kudos to the Virts guys because they did an amazing job on this deck of playing cards. Thanks for watching, guys. If you have any questions, comments, concerns about the deck, feel free to leave those in the comment section below, and I will catch you later.